Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we're going to make a card. I was going to do that special project I mentioned, but I'm struggling with it a little bit, and I don't want to release it until it's right, and so when it is, I'll do it. I told you my fingers were crossed, so it didn't work out like I wanted it to, so I'm not going to stress over it right now. I will get that project up. It's been a year in the making, so it's just not quite ready, but I will have it for you. But today I want to do something a little bit different. We're going to make a card using things we have and turn this into something totally different. I have seen a lot of people lately making jars out of cards, and I thought I'm going to get my craft room and play and see what I can come up with. So here's what I've done. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock cut in half long ways to make this a top folding card. It's then scored in the middle. So this is 4 1/4 by 5.5 when it's folded. Now I'm going to use my scoreboard and my flower punch board. You don't have to use this. All you need to do is use a punch that you have that will make these kind of indentions. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in the folded edge into my envelope punch. I'm going to line it up at the 1 1/4 inch mark. 1 1/4, and then punch. Then I'm going to flip it over and line it up in the same way. You've probably seen these cards. I've seen them on Pinterest and different people doing it, but there was a couple of tweaks I wanted to make. One was, a lot of people are leaving this square, and I know that it is square technically in a mason jar, but for me that feels a little harsh. So here's what I did. I took the top edge of my envelope punch and I rounded that off in that corner rounder at the top. For me, this just seems a little more authentic. I don't know why. I think it just feels more like a lid now with that little part. Then, move this out of the way. Now this is where you got to get creative, because not everybody's going to have a flower punch board, but if you do, I think this works perfectly. So I'm going to take this other punch on the back side of the flower punch board and punch this out on the bottom of the jar. Check that out. Isn't that neat? I like the different curves, or the play on the curves that we get. Now if you don't have a flower punch board and you don't have an envelope board, don't stress. Just find something in your house or something in your stash that will make these punches. Even if you just have to draw the circles or whatever, you can still do this. You just got to think outside the box to get it done. Or in this case, outside the jar. That was cheesy, I know. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do, this is where I could get myself into some trouble, but it's just paper, so we're not going to stress about it. Okay. So I'm going to take this and use my cutting mat. And I'm going to line it up onto one of the guidelines here. And I want my jar to be clear. So what I'm going to do is decide how far down I want my jar to go. And I kind of want it to go, I want this little piece to be left, and I want to use a border punch on it. So I'm going to come down, this is 2 inches from my score line. I'm coming down 2 inches. And I'm just going to cut this away. Again, this is where it could go bad. We'll see. You guys can let me know. Alright, so this piece I'm not going to use. I don't need that piece. Okay. And now this becomes my jar lid, because this is going to be the card. And I want this portion to be clear. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in just a second. First, I want to do a little border punch here. The one I'm going to use is this one. It's kind of like the postage edge border punch. But I like it. So I'm going to use that one. I think it'll just give it some texture. So I'm going to line this up. Just eyeball in the center. If you're not sure how to use punches and border punches, I will link below my Punches 101 video. And that will help you out. This is some packaging that I got from some flowers at Michael's. It's like one of those pillow box packaging, and I'm going to use part of this to make my clear portion of my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this open. And I saved this stuff, so this is just something I had in my pile of things that are saved. Cut that away. And then I'm going to come down here and cut this flap off, just to get myself a little bit flatter, and put that there. Now I'm going to get my paper trimmer real quick. Before I do that though, I need to decide how tall I want to make it now. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it the 5.5 by 4 1/4, so it'll fit all the way up in here and give me a good place to adhere it down. So that's how I'm going to cut this 5.5 by 4 1/4. Ooh, I just made it. That's 5.5. So I need to cut it 4 1/4 wide. Now this is curved a little bit, so I'm just going to work it a little bit with my hand and try to get some of that curve out without putting any dents or anything into the plastic. It's already not perfect because it's been kind of distressed as packaging, but that is no big deal. Alright, now what I need to do is do the same punches that I did to that card base so that it will match up. So I'm going to put it into my envelope punch board at 1 1/4 inches. Punch one side. 1 1/4 inches, punch the other. Then I'm going to flip it around to the back and do the corner rounding. We'll do the flower punch at this top portion. Okay, so now I have this clear plastic piece and I want to put it inside of here and adhere them down so that my jar is clear. Isn't that cute so far? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take some sticky tape because this is pretty slick and I want to make sure it will stick. And I've got plenty of room up there, so I'm going to use some of this large stuff I showed you yesterday. I think I showed it to you yesterday. But this large bit will give me lots of adhesive. And I've got plenty of room for it. And then I'm just going to match everything up on my card like so, making sure we match everywhere, and then just flip the top over. So now we have this. See how we have like the clear jar and it's like on top of here? I think that's super cute. Okay, so now we just need to decorate this guy and make it look like a jar that we're using for something. So you know how when your kids are outside and they catch bugs and they want to put them in a jar? That's what we're going to do today. So I have taken my branch punch and I've cut some greenery, but I want to show you something. Because you want your greenery to kind of go in 2 different directions on your page, if you only cut your branches with the punch facing in one direction, you get them all going the same like that. And that's kind of hard to get a good design. So here's the trick. You want to do some of them with the punch facing up like this. Okay, and then you want to do some of them with the punch down like this. Now this works if you have single-sided paper, because double-sided you're going to get, you know, the print on both sides. But now your branches go in 2 different directions. So this way you'll be able to get a good shaping. So these guys are going to go in there, and then my favorite part, no, I'm not going to show you that yet. We'll go ahead and do the branches. I want to run the branches around this side because I want to have a sentiment over here. Okay, or at least a place to write a note in this area. So I'm going to actually use some Tombow for this one, and the reason is I can just use a very tiny bit and I know that they'll stay down, but I am using a tiny bit because I do not want it to bleed through. Okay, so I'm just going to start with one like in this area, and they don't have to be perfectly flat, but fairly flat because this is the inside of the card. So this is just a matter of designing your little branches inside, like as if your kids had just thrown some twigs in or something. You'll see why, because we're going to catch a bug in a minute. Not a real one. I don't do real ones. No worries. I'm not going to ask you guys to go outside and catch real bugs. Okay, so I didn't use all of them. I just used several of them in this corner. And now if I do this, you can see that we have little greenery in our jar. I'm going to bring that up and get the glare off of it. So you see we have greenery in there, but it's really on the inside of our card. Cute, huh? Okay, all right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie some ribbon around this part of the card. So I have some ribbon. I'm going to slide it up underneath and then just tie a bow into that little crook that we have there. So you can see I've tied a little bow there, and now look at this. These are Renea's Dragonflies. I love these. When I saw these in her store, I thought I have to do something with a jar and these dragonflies because they remind me of catching fireflies. I never caught dragonflies, but I did catch fireflies. Now this dragonfly I'm going to put on the outside of the jar. Although it should be on the inside, I just think it will show up better and be so beautiful on the outside of the jar. It just blings and so sparkly. Look at that. Isn't that so cute? And now I have the perfect sentiment for this. This comes from the Bee's Knees set, and this sentiment says, just wing it. And I am going to get some ink. And I really should have done this before I put the bow down, but I just thought about it. So I'm going to come in here and just hope. I'm going to wing it. Oh, it worked. Good deal, good deal, good deal. But I would suggest you do that before you put the bow down. So it says just wing it. So there you go, guys. Pretty simple. I mean, it's not too hard to do. And then you have plenty of room to write a sentiment here. And I think that works out really cute. Now, so cute. So something simple, quick, and easy to give you the feel of a mason jar. I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I will see you again on Friday when we start our second in our Hallow Craft series. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.